Rain traced thin silver lines across the cafe window, blurring Seattle's skyline into watercolor. Inside Lakeside Cafe, a single candle flickered on a store-bought cake, its small flame fighting the October chill. Claire Bennett adjusted the candle, not for the light, but for control, one of the few things she still had. 29, she whispered, as if calling a cue before a performance. The cafe was half empty. A couple murmured near the counter. A barista tamped espresso. The lake shimmered a soft gray behind the glass. At Claire's table sat a paper gift box tied with a pale ribbon, a card from the rehab center, and her reflection, still graceful, still holding stillness like a dancer mid-pose. She took a breath and blew out the candle. Smoke curled upward, fragile and stubborn. Across the room, Julian Cross glanced at his phone. A single text glowed. Date cancelled. Sorry. He dropped the phone face down beside his untouched latte. Another meeting pretending to be romance. Another polite rejection. The door chime rang as a gust of rain slipped in, scattering the scents of coffee and wet leaves. That's when he noticed her. The woman in the corner, the wheelchair angled just so, her face caught in the candlelight. Her ribboned box slid off the table and hit the floor softly. Claire leaned forward to reach it, but her balance faltered. Julian stood before he could think. Let me get that. Their eyes met when he straightened. Hers steady, unguarded, eyes shaped by storms larger than weather. Thank you, she said. Then, with a dry humor that surprised him, added, if you're looking for a quiet seat, mine's free. Julian almost smiled. He was afraid to admit that it wasn't just the seat that felt empty. Something in the line made them both pause. No one looked away. Claire gestured to the second cup already on her tray. Then maybe you should fix that. The barista, Lena, arrived with 2 mugs of cocoa dusted in cinnamon. House tradition, she said. No one does birthdays alone. Is that official policy? Claire asked. Unofficially, Lena replied. I hate watching candles die alone. They laughed, an easy, freeing sound. So, Julian said, settling into the opposite chair. It's your birthday? 29, she nodded. My 20s are taking their final bow. Bows are good, he said. They mean you finished something worth watching. She tilted her head. That's surprisingly poetic for someone in a suit. I build things, he said. Eco-architecture. Mostly public spaces. You'd be amazed how much poetry concrete can hide. I used to build things too. What kind? Choreography. Bodies in space. Her smile dimmed but held steady. Before an accident rearranged the physics of my life. He wanted to say I'm sorry, but something about her tone, precise, not self-pitying, stopped him. Instead, he said, then we both work with balance. Her eyes softened. Yours still moves. Rain softened outside, tapping a rhythm on the window. Lena refilled their cups, pretending not to listen. So why are you here on a rainy afternoon? Claire asked. If you're not celebrating anything. Julian hesitated. I was supposed to meet someone, but she changed her mind. That's still something, Claire said. At least she told you. You sound like someone who's been stood up before. I have, she said. By the universe. He laughed. Quiet, startled, real. Claire nudged the cake toward him. Help me make this less depressing. He tasted it. Not bad. Grocery store gourmet. Here's to that. To what? To making peace with store-bought happiness. Their mugs clinked. They sat, watching rain streak the glass. Not romantic. Not yet. Something rarer. Stillness that felt shared. When the clock neared 5, Claire reached for her scarf. Thanks for not pretending this was pity, she said. Julian frowned. Why would it be? Most people assume the seat beside me is charity. If anything, he said, you saved me from my own company. She smiled, polite, but distant enough to close the moment. She gathered her things. The gift box slid again. Julian caught it midair and handed it back. What's inside? Something that doesn't fit anymore. He caught a glimpse. Satin ballet slippers, one edge singed. They used to belong to who I was, she said softly. Honest, not heavy. And honesty, he realized, was rarer than beauty. At the door she paused, waiting for the rain to ease. Julian followed. Instinctively, he opened his umbrella over her. I can manage, she said. I know. They stood under the small circle of shelter longer than strangers should. Then she rolled into the drizzle. He watched until her red scarf blurred into grey. Inside, the candle still smoldered on the half-eaten cake. Lena found him standing by the window. You're not leaving? Not yet. Outside, Claire paused halfway down the path, adjusted her scarf, looked back. Their eyes met through the fogged glass. She smiled, small, unguarded, real. It hit him harder than it should. 2 cocos again next Sunday, he told Lena. For the lady. For the table by the window. When he stepped outside, the rain had thinned to mist. He walked without opening his umbrella. At the corner, he looked back. The candle inside flickered once, then died, a thin ribbon of smoke curling upward, refusing to vanish. He smiled. The first real one in weeks. He made a silent decision. Same time, same place, next Sunday. Second Sunday. Rain hovered over Lake Union like a grey breath. The cafe window fogged again. Julian arrived 5 minutes early, not on purpose, just because his habits had rearranged themselves around curiosity. Claire appeared right on time. No entrance, just presence. Her wheels whispered over wood. Her book rested on her lap. Seat still free, she said. I was afraid you'd rented it out. To who? Someone braver than me. He laughed. Lena delivered cocoa with a knowing smirk. I'll assume this is your table now. You've started a tradition, Julian said. I'm reliable with routines, Claire replied. Except the ones life ruins. They sat in a silence that felt full. Outside, raindrops hit the lake like quiet applause. Claire traced lines in the condensation. Sound feels different through glass, she said. When I danced, music didn't just hit the ears. It came through pressure, vibration, people. Her hand pressed the window. Silence isn't the absence of rhythm. It's waiting for one. Julian studied her, the way she spoke like she was drawing light across a page. You talk about rhythm the way I talk about structure, he said. Then we're both architects, she answered. He told her about his firm. She listened like someone reading light, not words. You build places for people to gather, she said. Ever build one for yourself? He paused. No one ever asks the builder where he lives. That's not an answer. I live in sketches. They don't leak, or argue, or ask for more. Sounds lonely. It's efficient. Efficient isn't living. Her words stayed between them. Later, he unfolded plans. Be ruthless. She examined them. The ramp angle is too steep. Freedom looks small on paper but feels enormous. He blinked, absorbing her insight. I'll fix it. Good. Beauty must be accessible, or it's decoration. Rain softened to mist. Do you listen to music when you design? She asked. No. Try rhythm instead. She tapped twice on the table. He responded. The rhythm became its own language. Lena smiled as she passed, careful not to disturb the quiet magic. When 6 neared, Claire gathered her things. Can I walk you to your car? He asked. I don't drive. I take the bus. The driver always lowers the ramp like it's a favor. I pretend it's applause. He laughed. You can hand me the scarf, she added. I like doing the rest myself. At the door, she glanced up at him. People see the chair first. But you looked right at me. Maybe I just saw someone who refused to stop moving. Careful, she said. That almost sounds like a compliment. It is. She hesitated, just a breath, then rolled into the rain. At the bus stop, she turned back and waved. Not goodbye. More like keep the rhythm. Julian stayed. He spread her notes beside his sketchbook. Simple adjustments changed everything. Designed for those who sit not as less, but as center. When he left, a faint pulse beat beneath the city lights. He looked back at the window. 2 empty cups waited side by side. He didn't need a reason to return next week. He already had one. 3rd Sunday. Sunlight, rare, golden, fell across Lake Union. Julian arrived without thinking. The table waited. He brought no plans today, just a paper bag with colored pencils. Claire was already there. You're early. Or you're late. Dancers don't arrive late, she said. We enter on cue. He laughed. Lena brought cocoa without asking. He handed her the bag. She opened it and smiled at the pencils. For the world's smallest blueprints. For when lines stop being enough. She twirled an ochre pencil. I designed with lines too. Lines made of muscle. Do you miss it? He asked. I miss sound traveling through my bones. The moment before the spotlight hit. She looked at the lake. But life teaches new rhythms. He let her words settle. I want the center I'm building to feel like that, he said. Like motion can start anywhere. Then stop making everything symmetrical. Symmetry is safe. Movement lives in imperfection. You're dangerous for an architect's ego. Good. Egos don't build what hearts need. He wrote the line on a napkin. Permission to steal that? Only if you credit the crippled consultant, she said lightly. No bitterness, just truth. Drizzle began again. She closed her eyes, listening. Rain is the best metronome. He found himself listening, too. Then a man bumped her chair, coffee almost spilling. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's fine, Claire said calmly, steadying her cup. Accidents happen. Breathe. Her tone dissolved the chaos. You handled that like choreography, Julian said. Everyday life is choreography. We just pretend it's improvisation. As the cafe emptied, Julian unfolded a new sketch, this time redesigned with her notes. She stared at the gentle ramp, the widened seating, the marked center seat labeled Claire's View. You named a seat after me. On my copy, he said. You showed me what I was missing. No one's ever named anything after me that wasn't a hospital file, she whispered. I'm not fixing anything, he said. I'm learning. Rain thickened. Lena dimmed the lights. Same time next week. Claire asked. If the cafe has room for us. It will. Some rhythms insist on returning. At the door, she paused. When people meet me, they see a chair before they see me. But you. Her eyes softened. You looked at me first. Maybe I saw someone who still knows how to move. She almost smiled. Almost. Then she rolled out into the rain. Julian watched until her silhouette blurred into the lake light. He folded the sketch and slid it into his bag beside the napkin with her quote. Before leaving, he looked at the window. A faint circle drawn by her fingertip lingered on the fogged glass. It was enough. The Sunday that went missing. Autumn's last warm light filled the cafe. Julian came with no agenda, only the want to see her before the week swallowed him. But the table by the window was empty. Only a note, pinned under her mug. Don't worry. I didn't vanish. Just not a good day for coffee. I'll explain soon. See. He read it twice. Her handwriting was delicate, precise, movement frozen midair. Something inside him sank. Not fear. Not yet. Just the echo of absence. For days he returned to his world, deadlines, boardrooms, numbers that meant nothing compared to rhythm. Every time his phone buzzed, he hoped it was her. It never was. Thursday arrived with a meeting he couldn't avoid, a presentation for the city's cultural council, a pitch for Harmony Center, the same design she had once shaped with her ideas. Julian stood before a wall of screens, digital models spinning slowly in 3D. Polished, perfect, lifeless. An official asked, "Mr. Cross, what inspired the accessibility elements in your plan?" Julian hesitated. He could have said, user studies, or ergonomics. Instead, he heard himself say, a conversation. The room went still. With who? Someone pressed. A woman who taught me that design isn't just about movement, he said. It's about the rhythm between what we build and who we build it for. The panel nodded. An assistant whispered, "Beautiful line." Julian didn't care. He only wanted to thank her properly. That evening, unable to ignore the pull, he visited the rehabilitation center listed on her old birthday card. A nurse recognized the name. Claire Bennett. She's been helping in the art therapy program. Teaches movement workshops for other patients. Julian blinked. Movement. The nurse smiled. She calls it choreography of the upper body. Makes people forget their limits for a while. He walked down the corridor. The scent of disinfectant faded into paint and clay. Through a glass window, he saw her surrounded by patients, each moving to slow music. Claire sat in her chair, guiding them with gestures, hands drawing arcs in the air, her voice calm and precise. He didn't interrupt, only watched. When the music ended, laughter filled the room. She turned, saw him, froze for a second, then smiled. "I guess I owe you that coffee," she said. Later, they met under the center's awning where rain teased the air. "I didn't expect you here," she said. "And I didn't expect to find you teaching dance," he replied. "Not dance, rhythm therapy. My version of standing up again." "You looked like you were," he said softly. She stared. "You say that like you understand." "I don't," he admitted. "But I'd like to." They walked, or rather, he walked while she rolled beside him along the birch-lined path. The lake shimmered beyond the trees. "You know," Claire said quietly, "I used to hate this place. The antiseptic smell, the wheels on tile. But today I realized. I didn't lose movement. I just changed choreography." Julian smiled faintly. A better recovery speech than most CEOs give after mergers. She laughed. "Try teaching people who think their bodies betrayed them. You learn to reframe everything." Julian stopped walking. "Then maybe you can help me with that." "With what?" "With Harmony Center. The project's real now. The city's funding it. I want your help, not as a consultant, but as a collaborator." She hesitated. "Julian, that's not charity." "It's not," he said. "You already changed the design once. Now I need that again, from the inside." She studied him the way dancers study timing. "Are you sure you want someone like me on paper?" "I already do." Rain began in earnest, soft but steady. They stood beneath the tree where branches filtered the storm into gentle music. Weeks passed as they worked together. Their empty corner table at the cafe became a planning desk. Laptops, sketches, cocoa mugs, tracing paper scattered everywhere. Claire's ideas transformed blueprints into places that breathed. Wider corridors. Mirrored ceilings. Floors that translated music into vibration. Julian listened more than he spoke. Felt more than he planned. One evening, he caught her staring at the lake tinted gold by sunset. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That maybe. We build spaces not just to hold people, but to remind them they still belong somewhere." He wrote the line down immediately. "You're stealing my quotes again," she teased. "Borrowing," he corrected. "For the plaque at the entrance." Over time, the line between partnership and something deeper blurred. Julian stayed later on purpose. Claire stopped pretending she didn't wait for him. One evening she whispered, "You don't have to keep showing up." "Why wouldn't I?" "Because you already helped me enough. Helping you isn't what I'm doing." "Then what is it?" she asked. He looked at her, at the steadiness in her gaze. "I don't know. But every time I'm here, things make sense again." By early winter, the city requested a feature article. Julian agreed reluctantly. A journalist came with cameras and buzzwords. Then came the question, who inspired your accessibility concept? Julian hesitated. He thought of Claire, the rain, the cafe, her quiet line about rhythm. "There's someone who reminded me what design is for," he said. "Can we mention her?" "She wouldn't want attention." He thought nothing of it, until the article went live. The headline read, "Architect Julian Cross Pioneers Accessibility, Inspired by Wheelchair Consultant." And beneath it, her name on the blueprints. His phone buzzed with praise. Every headline applauded him. Everyone felt wrong. Then he saw the caption. "Inspired by Claire Bennett, former ballet dancer, now wheelchair consultant." Her story exposed without permission. He drove straight to the rehabilitation center. "She cleared out her desk this morning," the nurse said. "Said she needed quiet." Her studio chair was empty. Sketches hung on the wall. Graceful silhouettes. At the center, her handwriting read, "Movement is a conversation, not a performance." He stared until his vision blurred. That evening, he returned to the cafe. Same table. 2 mugs. Only one needed. He messaged her. "They used your name. I didn't know they would. I'm sorry." Delivered. Not read. Weeks passed. Work consumed him, but nothing felt right. Then one afternoon at the construction site, he saw a mural, a dancer in motion, wheel marks trailing like brushstrokes. At the bottom, "Inspired by CB." "Erase it," Julian said. "But people love it." "I said paint it over." She didn't ask to be anyone's symbol. That night, alone in his office, he held the note she once left at the cafe. "Just not a good day for coffee. I'll explain soon." "You don't owe me an explanation," he whispered. "I owe you one." A week later, an envelope arrived. Her handwriting. A letter. She wrote about the pain of being turned into a headline, not a person. About needing to find her rhythm again. About gratitude and distance. He folded it carefully. The next morning, he didn't erase the mural. He added 4 words beneath it. "For the rhythm you gave me." Winter settled. He stopped going to the cafe. But one day, he noticed a small plaque on their table. "Reserved for those who still believe." He didn't know if she left it, or if the world kept her place. On his desk, her letter stayed under glass beside her ochre pencil. Her voice lived inside him now. Real movement lives in imperfection. Slowly he understood. Symmetry had been his cage. As the Harmony Center neared completion, he visited late at night, tracing the ramp she had designed. It was perfect. And unbearable. "You designed this part," he whispered. Construction lights once failed early. In the dark, music drifted from a forgotten radio. Julian tapped the floor with his hand, like Claire once tapped the table. For the first time, he didn't feel alone. Spring came. The city prepared for the grand opening gala. Then the coordinator handed him the performance lineup. He froze. Closing act, Claire Bennett, Still I Dance. "She accepted last week," the coordinator said. He exhaled, a quiet laugh, a prayer. That night he returned to the cafe and placed 2 cocos on the table. "You kept your promise," he whispered. "Just not in the way I expected." As the gala approached, he oversaw every detail. The building finally felt alive. On the morning before the event, he stood beneath the inscription etched above the doors. "Real movement lives in imperfection." "You see," he murmured. I listened. The night of the gala arrived like the city was holding its breath. The building welcomed everyone. Heels, sneakers, wheels, without asking. Julian sat quietly in the audience. Performance after performance unfolded. Music, poetry, dance. Then, closing act. Claire rolled on stage in a black leotard. Simple. Strong. A soft blue light fell over her. The music began. She started with stillness. A hand rose. A wrist turned. Fingers carved a circle. The chair pivoted like breath. Her arms spoke the language of a dancer who refused to apologize for existing differently. Julian watched her reclaim a world she never actually left. 2 taps on the armrest. The rhythm she once taught him. He tapped it back on his knee. When she finished, the room stood. Quiet, powerful applause that felt like something had been set right. Backstage, she rested in the loading bay's cool air. Miss Bennett, a volunteer said. You have a guest. Julian stepped forward. No cameras, no speeches. Thank you, he said. For what? For giving this building its first real heartbeat. They stood in a silence that wasn't empty. I read your letter, he said. I deserved every line. It wasn't punishment. I know. He took a breath. I repainted a mural because your name became a headline. I etched your words above the door because they belonged here. I'm trying to fix what I broke, without turning you into a symbol while I do it. Why tell me this? She asked. Because what matters next doesn't need an audience. He handed her a small envelope. For the rhythm you gave me. Inside, Studio C. Her studio. Skylight, mirrors at seated height, vibration floor, sightlines calibrated to her view. Handwritten. No public dedication. Yours to accept or ignore. I will build it either way. Why privately? She asked. Because an apology shouldn't need witnesses. She touched the notation. Most designers forget I height. They call it inclusive. I used to, he said. Until I met someone who measured rooms differently. Will I have a key? If you want it. And if I don't, then it stays unlocked for everyone else. She held the paper like something alive. I didn't dance tonight to forgive you. And I didn't come to ask. She breathed out, something loosening inside her. A stagehand brought flowers. She looked at them, then at him. What changed you? You told me structure without rhythm is just lines. I kept drawing lines. Then everything stopped making sense. So I started listening, to the building, and to what you taught me. A coordinator appeared. Miss Bennett, press wants a quote. What should I say? Claire asked Julian. Say nothing you don't want to live with tomorrow. She smiled softly. Then I'll say this. The room worked. It did. When does Studio C open? She asked. Whenever you decide. The room is built. The name is not on any wall. Good. The lobby sounds drifted toward them. Coats rustling, wheels rolling, a child laughing at the echo of his steps on the ramp. The sound reached them like rain reaching the cafe.